Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom and happy Sabbath. Shalom and happy Sabbath. All right. I ain't tagging anybody to this class because we was coming in an hour later than normal scheduled time. All right. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
We see y'all in the comment sections. Shalom to you all.
Shalom, shalom.
You know what I'm saying? So happy Sabbath, happy Sabbath. As we come to the wind down, we're going to go ahead and get into this class. It's entitled Unprofitable Teachers. Whatever those marks are, hypocrites. All right. So we're going to get to this class. It's going to explain itself. Now, let's just let the Spirit carry us. You know what I'm saying? I guess y'all will see what I mean in a minute. Glory to the Father. Let's send up the prayers and thank the Most High. Big as hell.
That's your mom's baby. A lot. Men of Israel, blow trumpet.
Solomon, send the prayers.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for letting us see another let us see another holy day, Heavenly Father, which is the Sabbath, that you have ordained to be holy, that we come together and convocate, Heavenly Father. You have blessed day and hallowed the Heavenly Father. And thank you for letting us be your servants to come here and serve you. And wholeheartedly, whole mind, and whole spirit, Heavenly Father. We'd like to say, please forgive us for our sins, known and unknown, Heavenly Father. And help us to get rid of these blemishes so that we may be perfect in the day of the return when you send the Lord, Heavenly Father. Heavenly Father, we ask that you have mercy upon us, for that we fall short, Heavenly Father. Heavenly Father, continue to keep your heavenly hands upon us. Guide us, lead us, direct us, and show us the right way at all times, Heavenly Father, so that we may discern spirits and read the scriptures, Heavenly Father, with knowledge of understanding to show the people, Heavenly Father. Heavenly Father, please continue to bless us in our minds so that we may stay strong and sharp, Heavenly Father, against the hands of our enemies, Heavenly Father. Deliver us from the hands of our enemies, and bless all Israelites amongst the four corners of the earth, Heavenly Father, who's keeping your laws and commandments. And please send in more workers to harvest in your fields, and wake up the 1/3, Heavenly Father, so that we may get up and out of this captivity, Heavenly Father. These are your children of the nation of Israel praying to you, Heavenly Father, and asking and saying that we love to glorify you and glory your name, Heavenly Father. In your Son, Christ's name, we pray. Amen.
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 To the beautiful women, sisters, daughters, mothers, cousins, nieces, and aunties of the nation of Israel, to the women of Zion, we say shalom and happy Sabbath.
Shalom and happy Sabbath.
And the women of Zion, the mothers, sisters, daughters, nieces, cousins, say shalom and happy Sabbath.
Shalom and happy Sabbath.
Glory to the Father. Now finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his what?
His might.
His what?
His might.
His what?
His might.
His what?
His might.
What?
His might.
Yeah. All right. Shalom, shalom, and happy Sabbath. All right. You got some tissue somewhere? I need a piece of tissue. All right. Thank you. Y'all excuse me. All righty. Y'all excuse me, I'm sorry. All right, we on the popping, all right? Once again, shalom, welcome, and we thank you for joining One Nation Israelite School for the Sabbath. You could have chose any congregation to pay attention to today, but the Lord led you here to watch with us. So with that, we say shalom and we say thank you. Happy Sabbath. All right.
Yes, sir.
Now, today's class is Unprofitable Teachers. Mark's hypocrites. All right. I want to do this class because there are a lot of teachers in the nation of Israel. There are a lot of people that can go through these scriptures and show many things. They could break down the dark parables. They could break down the simple things. They could explain things that When I read it myself, you think I got all the answers to this Bible? You be a damn fool.
All right.
I don't have all the answers to this Bible. There's a lot in the Bible. When I read it, I don't know what it's saying. I don't understand it. I have to go look for teachers, other people who know more than me.
Right.
I'm not ashamed of that. Then you have those that, some of them, that's their downfall. They too prideful. They novices. They know it all. They think they know it all. You meet a man that say he know the whole Bible, run. Run. But besides that point, you have a lot of teachers in the nation of Israel today that, they teach you many things. They know a lot.
Yeah.
They lead big congregations.
Right.
But to themselves, they unprofitable. They don't even realize all that teaching they doing. Yeah, you raising up other people, you making it hard, making captivity grievous, or you even showing people the right steps to get to the kingdom. But you yourself, think about that. You be a man to lead many people to the kingdom, but you yourself don't get in.
Man.
Because you was profitable as a teacher, but unprofitable to yourself.
All right.
Let's go to the scriptures now. Let's open up with Sirach. Sirach chapter 37. And I believe it's verse 19.
Sirach chapter 37 and verse 19. Sirach chapter 37 and verse 19. There is one that is wise.
There's one that is wise. He filled with wisdom. He got to understand it.
And teacheth many.
He teaches many. All of us, listen, we sit here. Solomon teaches many. I teach many. St. John, the warrior, he teaches many. Right? So there's one that's wise that teaches many. Now I'm using us as an example, but remember, this is to the whole nation.
Right.
There are some that are very wise, and they teach many. Come on.
And yet is unprofitable to himself.
But he's unprofitable to himself. He is unprofitable to himself. Damn. There's one that teaches many. He's wise, but he's unprofitable to his own self. I mean, we give correction, all that stuff for other people's profit, for their own good. But yet, you are unprofitable to your own self. That's a heavy statement.
Yeah.
Read it from the top. Watch this.
Sirach chapter 37 and verse 19. There is one that is wise and teaches many, and yet is unprofitable to himself.
And yet he is unprofitable to himself. Watch this. Read on.
There is one that showeth wisdom in words, and is hated. He shall be destitute of all food.
He should be destitute of all food. Now, this is heavy. This is a heavy topic here. It says, there's one that showeth wisdom. There's one that showeth wisdom in all words. But he's hated. I don't even want to harp on that today.
Yeah, that thing deep.
I don't want to harp on that today. Read verse 19 one more time. And watch this. I'm going to show y'all something.
There is one that is wise and teacheth many, and yet is unprofitable to himself.
So we got one that teach many, but he's still unprofitable to himself. What would make a man that teach many unprofitable to himself?
All right.
That's it. He teaching, and with all that teaching, he never realizes the foul stuff that he doing. He get behind closed doors and think all of a sudden because you teach, that don't apply to you.
Right.
You can point out everybody else's sins and flaws, but you can't see your own.
Right.
He teach of righteousness, but his deeds are wicked. Watch this. Let me show you something. Why he unprofitable to himself? Simple. Matthew chapter 7. Matthew chapter 7. We're going to start at 1.
Matthew chapter 7 and verse 1. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 1. Judge not that ye be not judged. For what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again.
Right, because judge not, lest you be judged. You know what I'm saying? Christianity, we know they love that verse. Right. Judge not, lest you be judged. And I understand what it's saying. Judge not, lest you be judged. If you judge it, obviously you know it's wrong.
Right.
So if you judging, then you're going to be judged. Because obviously, for you to judge a matter, you got to know the matter. Right. So for me to condemn you or something, I have to know it's sin. I have to know it's wrong. Right. So if I can do that, then obviously I should know not to do it myself. That's why it says, in what measure ye meet, ye shall be. Read that part again.
For with what judgment ye judge, you shall be judged.
So if I'm judging you on adultery, I can be judged on adultery. Come on.
And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again.
Right. If I say that your punishment was worthy of life in prison, then if I do the same act, it should be worthy. My judgment should be what?
Same thing.
It's whatever measure you meeting. That's the same thing he was me. If it was bad, if Solomon did something, it was bad enough for me to pull him up in front of the congregation and give him harsh correction. Then why in the hell, when I get it, you supposed to rebuke me behind closed doors? Right. No, the same measure you meeting people with, the same measure should be met back to you again. Right. But you got some people that sit up in congregations, and when the other people do stuff, it's on full blast. Right. But when they do it, don't you call them out. Right. Right. You're unprofitable to yourself. You're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. I'm going to beat you down for not wearing fringes. Meanwhile, I ain't got no fringes. Right. I'm gonna beat you down by not keeping the law, but meanwhile, I'm bending corners on the law. Watch this. Read on.
And why beholdest thou the mote that's in thy brother's eye?
That now I'm spotting people's sins. I'm spotting your sins, right? Why am I the mote in your eye? That's to my. This is going into sin. I see a splinter in your eye. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, you got a whole damn beam in yours. Watch this. So read that again from the top. Watch this.
And why beholdest thou the mote that's in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thy own eye?
So a beam is also known as a 2x4.
Right.
The mote is like a splinter. You can see the splinter in somebody else's eye, but you can't see the 2x4 in yours. So now it's now you spotting people's sins. You want to correct people, but meanwhile you in a plethora of sin. Come on.
Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thy eye?
Let me pull the splinter out your finger.
And behold, a beam is in thy own eye.
But meanwhile, I got 2x4 stuck in me. I'm sitting here spotting your little sin. You got little specks of sin on you. Meanwhile, I'm judging you, but I'm covered in sin.
Right.
Come on.
Thou hypocrite. First, thou hypocrite. First cast out the beam out of thy own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye.
So now we're looking at just from a teacher form. I'm out here giving correction. I'm out here rebuking Christianity. I'm out here rebuking all these people. Meanwhile, I never considered the sin that I'm in. Right. I never took a chance to examine myself. Or I see the sin that people in, I'm correcting them, but when it comes to me, don't say nothing to me. I'm sitting as if I'm high and mighty now.
Right. Right.
Wow. There's one that teaches many, but unprofitable to himself. He teaching other people about keeping the laws and staying away from sin. Meanwhile, I keep entangling myself with different types of sin.
Right.
I like the Pharisee to be.
Right.
Exactly what that is. Watch this. You're a hypocrite. You have the same leaven as the Pharisees. Matthew 23, verse 1.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 1. Then spake Jesus to the multitude and said to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe.
Right. So it says the scribes and Pharisees sat in Moses' seat. Moses' seat was a ruler, a teacher to the nation. So you got the scribes and Pharisees. So now a lot of you follow scribes and Pharisees. The leaders in your congregation may damn well be one of the scribes and Pharisees we read in the Bible. Man. They sit in Moses' seat. They sit in front of the congregation. They sit in a high rank, a high position. Right? Read on. And they teach the laws. That's why he said, whatever they teach you, do it.
Right. You observe that observe and do not. But do not ye after their works. For they say and do not.
For they say and they do not. So they teaching things, but they ain't practicing the things they teaching.
Right.
So the Bible says, listen, you in a congregation. Some of y'all in the congregation because it ain't nothing but one camp in your city or something like that. And you see the wickedness of these people. But they teaching God's laws. Do what they teaching you by word, but don't do after their actions. Right. Because they say, but they do not. So you got those, observe me. If you in one nation, observe me. Observe the leaders in the school.
Right.
Are we teaching things and not doing it?
Right.
Also, observe yourself. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. The reason why a person is a teacher is unprofitable to himself because he don't observe himself. It's easy to point the blame on somebody else.
Right.
Or see somebody else's flaws. What about yours?
Right.
Who says, whatever they teach you, do it, but don't do after they doing it because they teach these things, but they do the opposite. Watch this. Read on.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 4.
For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers.
Clean the school up. Get the school clean. Clean the school up. Meanwhile, you sitting your ass on your ass, not doing nothing. They lay burdens on people. They make keeping the commandments grievous.
Right.
They put all this bravado on everybody else, but them themselves move not a finger.
Right. Supposed to lead by example.
You got all these people that's breaking God's commandments. They teaching all these things, and they make it grievous on you.
Right.
But yet themselves, they do not one of these things. So the point I want was, it says, whatever they bid you, do it. Whatever they teaching you, because they teaching God's laws, do it. But after they doings, don't follow after they doings, because them themselves keep not the laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
Watch this. Jump to verse 27. I'm going to show you what's up with these people.
Verse 27. Woe unto you, scribe and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto whited sculptures, which indeed appear beautiful outward.
White sculptures is basically a beautiful tombstone. And they like beautiful tombstones. Our appearance is beautiful. It's righteous. Come on.
Which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead man's bones and of all uncleanness.
Right, because dead men are considered unclean. Remember, you touch them, you will be unclean.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the teachers, they appear to be beautiful and righteous. That white pure. They appear to be pure, righteous, and fearing of God, keeping the commandments. But inside, they're full of dead man's bones.
All right.
I mean, they rotten. They wicked as hell. They don't keep they're unprofitable to themselves.
Right.
Best way to put it. Why? Because they're hypocrites. Their appearance is to be one of a man of understanding and keeping the commandments, but their actions are that of a sinner. It's opposite.
Right.
It contradicts their whole teaching. All right. So now, I'm gonna show you. Watch this. Go to They would be so remember, so what would make a teacher unprofitable is hypocrisy.
Right.
Being in the midst of sin, they doing the same things that they teaching you not to do. Or they teaching you to do things and they ain't doing it. Watch this. Go to Romans. Remember the scripture say, cast them out their own eye first?
Yeah.
Watch this. Go to Romans chapter 2. Start at verse 20.
Romans chapter 2 and verse 20. Romans chapter 2 and verse 20. And an instructor of the foolish, and an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law.
Right. So you got one that he's an instructor of the foolish, teachers of babes, which have the form of knowledge in this truth of the law. Right. So
right.
They have the form of it. They understand it. They got the persona and everything. Right.
Yeah.
But watch this.
Thou therefore which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself.
So you teach it that he unprofitable to himself. He teaching many, but he ain't teaching himself. Watch this. Read on.
Thou that preachest a man should not steal, doth thou steal?
Damn. So you teaching people should steal, but do you steal?
Right. Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, doth thou commit adultery?
Damn, you teaching, you out here rebuking brothers for sleeping outside their marriage. Meanwhile,
You got like 3 other females you mess around with.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You Pastor Andrew, I ain't gonna say that. You gonna say you Pastor Ricky, Pastor Andre,
right,
in the church. But 7 p.m. hit, you deacon down low. Reverend dick him down.
That'll be.
So it says you teaching people not to steal. Well, damn, do you steal?
All right.
You teaching people not to commit adultery, but damn, you in adultery. Come on.
Thou that abhorrest idols, doth thou commit sacrilege?
I mean, basically, you in the midst of idolatry. You teach against idolatry, but meanwhile you celebrate Christmas. You celebrate birthdays.
Right.
Thanksgiving. I just want the candy. October. Halloween. Now all of a sudden you call it Hallows Eve.
Right. Sit your simple ass down. You think you fooling?
All right. So you teach against these things, but meanwhile you in the midst of it.
Right.
Come on.
Thou that makest thy boast of the law, though breaking the law, dishonorest thou God.
Through breaking the law.
Okay. Thou that makest thy boast of the law through breaking the law,
right,
dishonorest thou God.
Right. So some of them, that's what they do. They boast of the law. Meanwhile, they breaking it. So you out there trying to rebuke the world. Meanwhile, you in the midst of the same sins. Ain't no sin better than the other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You out here trying to rebuke the world. Meanwhile, you in the midst of the sins of the world. You still in the world.
Right.
You're unprofitable to yourself. You teach these things, but you don't do them. Or you teach against them, but you participate in it.
Great.
It's one that teaches many, but is unprofitable to himself. And you know what? Some of them bad people, they'll see this class and yeah, well, you damn well die for it. That's why I tell everybody, you get to the point where you see these things and y'all ignore it because you admire the ranks and double honor to the bishops and all that type of stuff. You're right. You're right. When you're not doing righteous, we're supposed to big him up. Paul was talking about that. Paul was like, I ain't even supposed to have to brag on my own works, right, but y'all not doing it for me.
Right.
The Bible tells you, you're supposed to big up your damn teachers.
Right.
You're supposed to brag on them. You're supposed to talk about that man. But you know what a lot of people do? Let's say the hell with that. Hey, I'm telling you, you got those, they teaching things, but they're unprofitable to themselves. They are unprofitable to themselves. They are in more wickedness than the people that they teaching about, the people they talking about. to death be thee, if you don't get it right. But that's why I tell you, when you see these people and they in the midst of sin, but they teaching against it. They giving people correction. Meanwhile, you should be standing up there next to them,
right,
getting correction.
right.
Then you got those. I'm telling you, you're gonna follow these teachers. These teachers gonna lead you to hell. And 9 times 10, you know what you're gonna do when you get there? He says so. Not even realizing that you yourself are a participant.
Right.
Examine. Go to 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians.
Would that somewhat be considered having affect a person?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to get that in a minute. As a fact. 2 Corinthians 13 and 5.
2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobates?
So the Bible says, examine yourselves. Examine yourselves. Examine yourself. Stop examining everybody else. Examine yourself.
Right.
It's your fault we in captivity.
Right.
It's my fault. It's your fault. It's our fault. It's her fault. It's everybody's fault.
Right.
It's our fault we in captivity.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying don't blame the captive. That would be idiotic.
Right.
What I'm saying is us breaking the laws got us here. Us breaking the laws is what's keeping us here.
Right.
But you know what? The person that's probably damn near leading the church is the reason why that church is still in the same position. Because that one person could be profitable to everybody else, but just unprofitable to himself. Why? Because he never examined himself. So I tell y'all, examine yourself. Are you in the midst of sin? You better find it and dead it.
Right.
Time getting short. And we watching the cursors recycle themselves. We seeing prophecies playing out in our face, and guess what? Some of us still bullshit.
Yeah.
Watch it. Watch it. Read that again, 13 and 5.
2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Examine yourselves.
That's the biggest part. That's one of the biggest parts of that verse.
Yeah.
Examine yourself. Examine. Are you profitable to yourself? Damn, I teach many.
Right.
I'm teaching many. I'm breaking down scriptures. Damn. Full classes, everything. I'm teaching many.
Right.
But damn, am I just saving them? Am I lining myself up for the death, meanwhile saving them? Examine yourself. Come on.
Rather ye be in the faith, prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except ye be reprobate?
You know the hypocrite biggest problem in that verse? I'm gonna say prove yourself. Because a hypocrite gonna tell us, you know what, I'm doing good. I'm keeping God word. I just got there teaching and I was doing hallelujah. That's the preacher right there. That's your pastor.
Right.
That's the so-called leader. We're gonna look at Israel. You got teachers, you got bishops, deacons, captains, officers, commanders, soldiers. All of them, they lead and they teaching. But when it comes to proving themselves, they deceiving themselves.
Right.
They hypocrites. A lot of them are hill class like this and it'll take no effect on them.
Yeah.
They don't even realize that, damn it, this class, I don't know if he's talking to me. Or you know what? They just take this class and they'll look at it and never take the second to sit back and think and say, damn. Yesterday I was entertaining a conversation that I probably shouldn't have with some worldly people.
Yeah.
All right, watch this. So it says, examine yourselves because you might be guilty and worthy of death. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, examine yourself. You may be one of the teachers that's worthy of death. You may be guilty. Some people that, you know, they are that teacher that we read about. The teacher that they go out and they make the people they teaching worse than themselves.
Right.
When in fact they are already dead and gone.
Right.
So you don't want to talk somebody else to make no worse than you when you yourself was already worthy of death. Now you don't make this person 2 times worse than you. We're gonna read that. But you want to know why a lot of people let that happen to them? Because of this verse. Where you at?
Me.
You got to respect them.
Oh, that's in.
You know what I'm saying? What would cause a person to sit back and watch a man lead them to death? What would cause a person, you see something, you know this dude's in sin, but you don't say absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, you call everybody else out. But this one particular person, your teacher, that's unprofitable to himself, you did nothing to help save him. And meanwhile, actually, you put yourself in the line of fire because you followed after him, knowing that he was wicked.
Right.
It's Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 21.
All right, whenever you get that, read it. I thought you said you want him to read it.
28 and 21. Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 21. Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 21. To have respect of person is not good. For a piece of bread that man will transgress.
So to have respect of a person. To have respect of a person is not good. But you know what happens? They'll see a man in sin and won't say nothing. Because his sin ain't sin to you.
Right.
But if, like, there's some of you people with these higher ranks in your schools, you'll see a member, a brother who on the same level as you, he do something and he word the correction. You say something to him. You have him pulled up in front of school embarrassed. But then you yourself will see a bishop, a captain, a warrior, a deacon. You'll see them in sin and say absolutely nothing. Want to know why you do it? Because you got respect of a person. And then you know what happens? You actually follow them. Because they did it, all of a sudden they sin no more. It's right, because they did it.
Right.
So you follow them and eventually get yourself put to death with them. You get yourself put to death with them. Why? Because you got respect of a person. But let's back to the teacher now. That teacher, you gonna die. Because you're unprofitable to yourself. Damn, you just correct this man for something. Now he done been chastised. He gonna get in line. Meanwhile, you continue to go on in the midst of doing the same types of sin.
Right.
Or you know what happens? Let's put it another angle. Let's hit it from another angle now. You got those that they teach people, right? Mm-hmm. Then there's a one spirit that cleaves hold to them that they happen to like.
Right.
So this person see you in and out the congregation.
Right.
So they see how you act in front of the congregation, and then when you outside the congregation, they see that you sinful as hell. You do what you want to do.
Right.
They see that, and they learn that behavior.
Right.
That type of spirit right there is going to be 2 times worse than a teacher. Watch this. Go to Matthews 23:15.
Wouldn't that be considered him being a stumbling block?
Yeah, in a way. But the stumbling block is a little different, but it's in a way, yeah, it's the same thing. Watch this. Matthew 23:15.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 15. Matthew chapter 23 and verse 15. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees.
So woe to you, scribes and Pharisees. Now we already figured out that the Pharisees and the scribes and Pharisees were what?
Hypocrite.
They were hypocrites. Right? So it says, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees. So let's just plug it in. Woe unto you, teachers.
Woe unto you, teachers, hypocrites, for ye devour widows' houses.
No. Verse 15.
Oh. Woe unto you, teachers, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and led to make one proselyte.
Now, a proselyte was somebody that's in Israel, but he wasn't raised up in Israel, or he wasn't raised up in the customs. So we go, like, for us, past the land and sea would be us going out to the highways and the hedges, the streets. We go out to the streets and do what? Real.
And when he is made, ye make him twofold, more the child of hell than yourselves.
So we go out to the streets. You got some teachers in Israel. You unprofitable teachers, you're hypocrites. You go out to the streets to bring in spirits. You go across land and sea, all in other countries, all type of stuff. Like, you go out to the streets to find a proselyte, which is the whole nation at this point. Bring a spirit in. One spirit cleaves to you. They see your righteous deeds inside the congregation, and they see your wicked acts outside the congregation. They see how you ruling and how you rolling, and they learn that behavior. That particular person, you will make them 2 times the child of hell than what you already are. Because remember, you're already full of dead man's bones.
Right.
So you make them 2 times the child of hell than you already are. Right?
Right.
So now, you're saying, so you make them 2 folds worse than you. How? By your wicked examples. By your wicked examples. And when that happens, you know what happens? Now you're guilty. You're guilty of a greater damnation.
Right.
But remember what the Bible said. Go to Matthew's real quick. We in Matthew's, I'm sorry. Go to chapter 5. Matthew's 5, go to 18.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 18. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law.
So no jot and tittle shall pass from the law. The smallest parts of the law to the biggest parts. Not one jot, one tittle. Not one person gonna slide through the cracks that ain't keeping these laws and commandments, right?
Right.
Watch this. Read on.
Till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
Now, you just went out and found one a proselyte and made him 2 folds the child of hell than you already are. You are guilty of being the least in the kingdom, because you not only do you break the law, but you've also taught men so. Some of y'all been evil teachers. Y'all been teachers of evil lessons. You're unprofitable to yourself. The only thing you've taught people is how to offend people. Only thing you taught people is to call out other people's sins, meanwhile hide yours. You are a terrible teacher. You are a teacher of evil lessons. You're going to be the least in the kingdom. There ain't no least in the kingdom. I mean, you're not getting in.
Right.
That's one of the scariest verses in the Bible, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's a scary thought that you could be a teacher of many and still be unprofitable to yourself.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing. To be sitting in the seat as a teacher, that ain't a light manner.
Right.
To whom much is given, much is required.
The teacher forever learning and never.
Forever learning, never come into the understanding of the truth.
Right.
You forever learning, but never come into the understanding of the truth. That's to me, that is one of the scariest verses of being in the position that I play.
Yeah.
That you could be a teacher to many and be unprofitable to yourself.
But daily, you gotta examine yourself.
That's why you have to examine yourself daily. That's why you have to examine yourself daily, because, well, you know it, you're gonna slope and sign your name straight to death forever.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Think about that. That's scary, man. That's just like that's a scary thing, man. For you to put all your time in this thing, and you would remember I tell you, if you're not gonna be sincere, you're not gonna be serious about this. Go have fun.
Yeah.
Go have fun, because you sitting up in here faking, wasting all your time that you could be out there being a perfectly good devil. You could be out there being a damn good devil. But instead, you sitting here faking, and meanwhile, you unprofitable to yourself. Now you going out rebuking the hell out of people. People repenting and everything. Meanwhile, you still carrying on with your fake act. You gonna die.
Scary thing is, even when just because you know of the truth and you heard it, as soon as you leave out, you still getting a judgment.
All right.
You get put to death.
All right. Because it's worse to you who know.
Right.
You whether you know or not, you still gonna get it.
Right.
But you're gonna get it worse because you know.
Right.
Watch this, man. So you make people worse. Why? Because you are wicked, right? You teach men to break God's commandments. You taught that soul that cleave to you to break God's commandments. You taught them to be a hypocrite.
Right.
Watch this. Read on. We're in verse 20.
Yeah.
Come on.
For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees.
Now, hold on. Read that again. Watch this.
For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Now that's heavy. The Bible says your righteousness better exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees. What was the scribes and Pharisees' problem?
They spoke the truth by impractice.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. They taught one thing, but they didn't do it. They taught the right things, but they didn't do it. It says, except your righteousness exceeds theirs, you shall in no wise enter into the kingdom. Your righteousness must exceed the Pharisees. How you gonna do that? By not being a hypocrite, by actually doing the laws and commandments,
right,
and putting in works. How about that? I mean, because other than that, there's no other answer for you to make it.
Right.
You are doomed. If your righteousness does not exceed the Pharisees, you know you done it. Like a lot of people have already fooled themselves that like, oh, they got a little bit of sin in them, that's okay. No, a little leaven lumpeth the whole loaf.
Right.
This is a class where you go in perspective and you look at yourself like, damn, I still got a little bit of this in me. You know, the Bible say cast that whole thing into the fire. So it's telling you, I'm gonna die. I better figure a way to defeat this. But you know what? A teacher sitting in a high spot would never consider that.
Right.
No, because he high and mighty. As long as he corrected you, he feel he rebuked himself.
Right.
That was one of the dumbest things I ever heard. He said, you get offended. I'm teaching, I'm getting offended too. I was like, what?
He the most.
Just keep it real. This class was for him. It was for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I did a class. I done cut myself teaching. But that's because I messed around and said something and realized I was in the midst of the same thing I'm talking about.
Right.
But another teacher, no.
Damn not.
They don't see they sin. No, they don't see they sin. They in the midst of the same things they're rebuking you for. And guess what? They're going to go home and continue to participate in it. Meanwhile, he just gave somebody a 10-minute correction for it.
Right. It's crazy because when you call them out, they try to make every excuse to make what they're doing right.
Right. I see that all the time. But sit up in the highest seats and then they were rebuking everybody. They calling people stupid, foolish, all type of stuff. And then when they finally get into the midst of sin and somebody says something to them, demote this brother.
Right.
Correct him. You don't rebuke an elder. You need to do it with respect. And I was like, damn, when you did it, you came out cussing everything else. You
went in on you, boy.
Now the shoes on your foot. Now the rabbit got the gun. Now it's you. All of a sudden, they almost just call you out.
Right.
Oh, so I'm supposed to wait behind closed doors to rebuke you.
Right.
But meanwhile, when you rebuking me, open rebuke is better than secret love.
Right.
You're a hypocrite, man.
Right.
You're a hypocrite. You didn't come to me in private and rebuke me.
Right.
All of a sudden, when it's your turn, I'm supposed to come to you in private.
Brother, the scripture said if you offended me and we need to come to each other as brother, they like to use that too.
Man, you can't do it like that. That's hypocrisy, man. What measure you meet, you should be measured back unto you again.
Right.
So if we teach open rebuke at One Nation, ain't nobody exempt from that.
Right.
You damn if it was me. Put my ass in front of the congregation and go in.
Right.
To me, you're hypocrites. You're unprofitable teachers. You're profitable to everybody else. That's what you good for the nation. You good. You good for the nation because you teaching that. Damn it, you breaking the hell out of the scriptures. Keep doing it. You teaching everybody, but in the end, you're gonna be the example. You're gonna be the example of Sirach 37:19, one that teacheth many, but is unprofitable to himself.
Right.
You're gonna be that Isaiah 66 dude. One of them fleshes that we're gonna ride past and see that he transgressed the Lord.
Right.
Why? Because you're unprofitable to yourself. You are high and mighty. You above. And you like the police. You're above the law.
Right.
You break the very laws you arrest people for.
Right.
You write people tickets for the same shit you do.
Right. Then they slap you on your wrist talking about because you served this many years, we reduce your time to cut it out.
I seen like polices rub their billy sticks across people's heads.
Right.
Rub their billy sticks across people's head and then charge them with aggravated assault on an officer.
Right.
Battery on a Leo.
That shit is crazy.
You beat this man and then charge him with battery on a Leo.
Does he wanna defend himself? When that Billy Club hurt. They ain't rubbing the stick across your head nicely. Sound like prap.
It says, except your righteousness exceeds them of the Pharisees, you should not enter into the kingdom. Now, the one that is not going into the kingdom, and he taught hypocrisy. So now let's go back to the point where you don't want to found a soul, that soul cleave to you, start doing the same deeds you do. They teaching many wonderful works, but they still loaded with sin. They doing their own sin. They doing the same things they teaching against.
Right.
You know what happens? That particular person leads many to hell. Lead many to hell. Watch this. Go to 2 Peter's. Let's hit my damn head. Don't think about that. Watch this. 2 Peter chapter 2. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. Watch this.
2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1. 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people.
Right. That is an unprofitable teacher. You know what I'm saying? You're a false prophet among the people, right? Watch this.
Even as there shall be false teachers among you.
Come on.
Who privately shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them.
They're going to bring in damnable heresies. I mean, they don't teach stuff that's going to get people put to death.
That's it. Crazy.
Like you can rape little girls.
What the fuck is they talking
You can rape a woman and make her your wife.
Sick ass.
Watch this. Read on.
That shit sick. Even denying the Lord that bought them.
Watch this.
And bringing upon themselves swift destruction.
They're going to bring upon themselves swift destruction because they're unprofitable teachers. They teach in this particular school that I'm talking about that teaches people can rape. You'll be surprised. They got the deep breakdowns and all of that.
Right.
They can teach you the law. They can teach you the 6 and the 7 feathers, all that type of stuff. They can teach you deep parables.
Right.
They got a breakdown. So they have somewhat of an understanding of the truth. They can teach you that, but they also telling you can rape women.
Right.
All right. Watch this. Watch this. So they're going to bring swift destruction upon themselves, right? And then what else? Read on.
And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of.
So these people are going to bring swift damnation upon themselves. But guess what? It's going to be people that follow them. So what's going to happen to the people that's following them?
They're going to die too.
They're going to get swift destruction. Why is that? Why would you follow a man into destruction? What would allow you to see a man in sin and still follow him? Not ever say anything to him. You want to know what to do that? Something St. John said earlier. Watch this. Go to Romans 2:11.
Romans chapter 2 and verse 11. Romans chapter 2 and verse 11. For there is no respect of persons with God.
There's no respect of a person with God. But guess who there is respect of a person's with? Us, our people. The ones following these brothers that can do absolutely no wrong in their eyes.
Right.
There ain't no respect of a person with God. So if you sinning, that's a sin. If he's sinning, that's a sin. If she's sinning, that's it. With God, everything is written. That's why we read this here. It's black and white.
Right.
Balance.
Yeah, it's a standard, basically. It's a measuring stick. Basically, right. This is this. It's a codified law and ethic. Meaning, this black and white. That's stamped. That's it. It ain't moving. It don't change. Well, oh well, he did it. Well, you know, no, ain't no change. No, this is what it say. You pull a scripture on me, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, yeah, but you gotta understand this though. No, you don't understand this though. This is what this say. You know what I'm saying? I remember you backed the brother in the corner the other Sabbath. You backed him into the corner. At that point in time, what would have been a righteous statement to do?
Just go ahead and repent.
All right, and say, you know what, you got me.
Right, repent.
When somebody backed you into a corner, and it was with scripts and a logic, like you backed him up. I was waiting to see how he was going to try to wiggle out of that. He had nowhere to go. So then he tried to explain his way out. No, the scripture's black and white.
Yeah. Once I start doing that, like I said, the word starts.
Right.
Right.
Right. He started trying to pick pieces out to try to flip it. He was in here. He was done. It was a wrap. The best thing to do is say, you know what, you got me on that one. Right. As a fact, remember the first time when he got you when he was new. Remember I told you, I said, just stick with the very first line.
Yeah.
Don't let them get away from that. That's how you keep when they say something, hold them to it. Hold them to it. No matter how far they try to drag you out, want to get right back to the front. No, remember you said that's it. Lock down. There's not more time. Like I told you, when people go talking, they'll talk themselves in the hole.
Yeah. Just pray some brothers stay in the spirit. Go like, nigga, what? Fighting this mud.
But that's what happened. You had done backed them into the corner with the script. Because the way you hit him is like, damn. So I was like, okay, let's see. What are you gonna do now? Because he stuck. There ain't nowhere to go from there. Instead of just saying, you know, you got me on that one. You know what I'm saying? He tried to explain himself out. When you go to that, when you get somebody trying to, you done back them, now they want to explain themselves out. No. Script say what it say. God said there's no respect of a person, meaning this law is the law. Ain't no explaining your way around it. No. Bam. Black and white. Everybody must follow this. One person do this, it's the same for him.
Because if he look at it his own way, he gonna look right in his way. I mean, his own eyes, but in God's
right.
eyes,
we got a scripture that say that.
Yeah, probably.
Get that real quick. Where is that?
Oh, I don't know what it's at. I know what it's
Okay. Somebody search that real quick. Meanwhile, you stay where we at.
All right.
So it says, this person, they gonna bring swift damnation to themselves. You know what I'm saying? If you got to, go ahead, Google check it or whatever.
I got it written down.
All right. So yeah, you got those that they will bring damnation to themselves swiftly.
Right.
But they also gonna bring damnation to everybody that's following them. And the reason why that's gonna be is because the people that's following them, you see they in sin and you don't care.
Right.
You rather follow them because you have a respect of a person. But meanwhile, you was just on all the Facebook posts talking about the other brother who they corrected for the same thing.
Right.
I see that people that smile in your face, act like they're your friends, they love you so much, we brothers, we sisters, and then when you have a mishaps and it's true,
they all against
you. They cast you to the wolves.
Just say pick that brother up so that he'll do better.
Right. This brother get correction, And then instead of y'all say, hey man, brother, you know, man, shake that thing off, come back.
Right.
You saying no. And well, that brother, look at his hell. He don't like correction. But then your bishop do it. And it's all praises. Bishop is so humble. He admitted he doing that. Bishop gonna do better. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, the bishop ain't came out and repented for nothing. All he did was jump on the person's head who pointed it out.
That's just like Christianity.
Right. You want to know why that is? Because you got a respecter of persons.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Watch this. So, like I was saying, that's a law. No respect of person. That's telling you that it's a law set. Well, that law applies to everybody. There's no way around it. You want to know why we got codified laws and ethics? Because if you leave it to me, I'll rule by what I feel is right and make it convenient to myself. Yeah. Same thing with you. Same thing with you. Right. Anybody, if you get put in a rulership position where you can make the rules and stuff, like Esau, he make these rules that apply to everybody else. Once he do it, he got a loophole for him to get out of it.
Right.
It don't work like that with the Bible. The Bible is set in stone because it applies to everybody. If you rule, then what will happen? Where we going?
On Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 2.
Go ahead and get that for me whenever you're ready.
Proverbs 16 and 2.
Yeah.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 2. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 2. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes. But the Lord weighs the spirits.
But the Lord weighs the spirits. So if I was, it goes perfectly because you would be right in your own eyes. If you was left to rule, see, that's why the Bible is in stone. It's set in stone. Because with the Bible, the rules don't bend for anybody. But to an individual, what's right to him is what's right to him.
That's him deceiving himself, right?
Go ahead.
Right.
After that, go to Proverbs 16, chapter 16 and 25.
All right. I want to just read this real quick because that just means he's deceiving himself.
Yeah.
So Ezekiel 14 and 9 said, and if that prophet be deceived when he hath spoken a thing, I, the Lord, have deceived that prophet, and will stretch out my hand upon him and will destroy him for the midst of my people Israel.
All right.
Where you want me to go?
Proverbs 16 and 25.
Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 25. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
That's exactly right. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of people sit there and follow they bishops or the higher ranks, because they got to respect their person. Where the Bible said there's no respect of person, the law is set in stone. Why? Because if it was the reason why Israel has a codified law ethic, I'm gonna say it again. The reason why we have a codified law ethic, because if it was up to us, we would make everything that's right in our own eyes. We would follow our own ways, our own mind. And those laws would have some way for me to explain myself out of it when I don't keep it.
Right.
Meanwhile, for you, there's no explanation for why you did it. Right. But when I do it, I got a reason for why I did it, and this makes it okay because I'm ruling in my own way.
Right.
Add to.
Right. So that's why the Most High gave us the law, statutes, and commandments that everybody abide by. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't get put to death because they have that respect of persons. I'm gonna show you how people respect a person. It'd be like this. Go to James real quick. You remember that scripture about the gay clothing?
Yeah.
James, I believe it's 2 and 3.
That messed me up one day.
Somebody let me know before y'all read it.
All right. James 2 and 3. Yeah.
Go ahead.
James chapter 2 and verse 3. I'm gonna start at 2 first.
Go ahead.
James chapter 2 and verse 2. For there cometh to you assembled a man with a gold ring and goodly apparel, and there come also a poor man in veiled raiment, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, stand thou there, or sit here under my footstool.
So the gay clothing is like when you go to Sunday church. This is man, he well dressed. He come in, got the finger rings on, got the bracelet, the necklace. You know what I'm saying? And they look at him like, oh, he got money. And sit up front. Come on, I got a good seat for you, brother. Hey, sister, get your ass up.
Right.
Brother. You know what I'm saying? They give him a beautiful seat because of the way he dressed. But then the other brother walk in, and he's just a regular brother.
Right.
Oh, he's sitting in the back.
You know, some pastors ain't got.
Oh, you know, brother. That chair's come here, brother. You sit here. Find one of you seats in the back.
I heard the brother told him, get your poor ass up. Get your poor ass up. Damn.
I seen a church where it was this one lady in the church, older lady, but she looked very, let me say she was very well put together. She looked good. He was like, you can hear them talking, oh, that's Sister Parker. What was her name? I forget her name. It was something, but I'm just gonna say Sister Parker. It was like, that's Sister Parker, old fine ass. Look at her. Hey, Miss Parker, come here. I got a spot for you right here. Sugar, that's her seat. Yeah. And she walked by and have a seat. They done got the other sister up, made her go sit wherever. But that's how y'all do with y'all, these brothers in these high positions. Because they teachers, or they whatever. These teachers are unprofitable to themselves and unprofitable to you.
Right.
But because they got a rank. You look at them in a different light.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you treat them just like the people would treat this dude that walked in with the gay clothing, meaning the flashy, the nice flamboyant clothes. You treat him a certain way. You treat him better. And then the other person that come in who can't afford the nice clothes, you treat him like crap. That's the same way y'all do with these positions. You got a brother that's in a high position, a high rank, so he don't get correction.
Right.
What he do don't matter. You let his sins slide. But meanwhile, you got the brother that's in here, he ain't got no rank, he just learning still. Everything he say is stupid. He shut up, be quiet all the time. that brother, Lord forbid, he mess around and bite his sandwich without washing his hands.
Man.
And he up in front of the school.
Game over.
Something wrong with that. Watch this. Go back to 1 Peter 2:1.
The man with all kind of sonic boom jabs, body slam.
Keep picking on him until you finally get mad and say something back, and then you kick him out and say he a nigga.
Right. Better be careful. Some niggas will tear the church up. You gotta stop, right? Stop playing with certain folks.
Got devil on him. See how he did? Do my shit.
Sitting up there with an ice pack on your head. Talking about you the devil.
You be sitting on some seat and do my damn stuff.
Nigga, you need another ice pack.
Watch this. I'm sorry, go to 2 Peter's. That's what I call it.
Yeah, 2 Peter.
2 Peter 2:1 again.
2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1. But there was false prophets also among the people, even as there be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies.
You mean heresies that'll get you put to death? It's gonna cause damnation. Come on.
Even denying the Lord that bought them.
Come on.
And bringing upon themselves swift destruction.
They're gonna bring upon themselves swift destruction. Come on.
And many shall follow their pernicious ways.
Their evil ways. Come on.
But reason of whom the way of truth shall be spoken evil of.
Right. Those people are gonna bring swift destruction, damnation upon themselves and the people following them. Why? Because of what they teach. Because of what they teach. They teach what they teach. They teach heresies. Their examples are hypocrite examples. There's one that teacheth many, but is unprofitable to himself. You got one that's going to teach many, but he's still going to be unprofitable to himself. There's going to be some people that's going to lead many to the kingdom, and themselves are going to be destroyed. I just don't want to be a part of that number.
No, sir. No, sir.
Watch this. Matthew 12:1. I'm gonna show you the type of hypocrisy that people be in. Like when they say they was like the scribes and Pharisees, because the scribes and Pharisees were actual hypocrites. They were real live walking hypocrites. I'm gonna show you the type of stuff that the Pharisees did. Watch this. Go to Matthew 12:1.
Matthew chapter 12 and verse 1. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 1. At that time, Jesus went on the Sabbath day through the corn. And his disciples were in And his disciples were in hunger.
Meaning they was hungry.
And began to pluck the ears of the corn and to eat.
Right. So they was plucking the ears of the corn, meaning they went through the field. They was hungry, so they saw corn and they started picking the corn. They picked the corn off and peeled it back and started eating. Right? Watch this.
But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day.
Now, because on the Sabbath day, you remember when the Sabbath was coming in on Friday before the sundown, they tell us to gather in everything that we was going to eat for the next day.
Right.
Gather it all in. So on Friday, if you normally eat 2 pieces of corn at night and 2 pieces, let's say it normally take you 4 pieces of corn to get through a day. Right. On Friday, you would gather in 8 pieces of corn.
Right.
Because you're going to need 4 more to go through the next day. So he saw Christ and the disciples going through the field. They was picking off corn and eating it. And he was like, y'all doing what's unlawful. Well, they wasn't actually gathering in corn and taking it. If they was doing that, they would have been in sin. Like if they went out there and started picking 7, 8 pieces of corn and carry out, no, that would have been sin. But eating on the Sabbath ain't a sin.
Right.
They went through the field, they saw some corn, they was hungry, they picked it, started peeling it back and started eating it then. Right, watch this. So he says, your disciples do that which is unlawful to do upon the Sabbath day, right? So now, watch this. So they try to condemn Christ for eating on the Sabbath day, eating corn on the Sabbath day, which was lawful for him.
Right.
Now, let me show you what they was in the midst of doing, though. So they try to get on Christ about him eating corn on the Sabbath. Meanwhile, this is what they was doing. Go to Matthew chapter 23. And let's start at 16.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 16. Woe unto you, ye blind guides, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing.
So now, if you swear by the temple, ain't nothing. And there ain't no problem with swearing by the temple, right? Come on.
But whosoever shall swear by the gold of the whoso that messed me up. But whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple is a debtor.
Right. So it said, it ain't no problem to swear by the temple, but if you swear by the gold that's in the temple,
get your ass out.
As if the gold is not in the temple.
Right.
You are a debtor. Watch this. Read on.
That's crazy.
Look what Christ called them.
Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifies the gold?
Right. He says, what's greater? Is it the gold or the temple that sanctifies the gold?
That was gas.
You're like, you idiots. You teach it's okay to swear in the temple, just don't swear by the gold that's in it. Because you greedy. You can swear by the temple, but don't swear by the gold. Like the gold made the temple sanctified. No, the temple made the gold sanctified.
Right.
Watch this, read on.
And whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing. But whosoever swear by the gift that is upon it, these mother effers here, man.
Did you see this?
What the hell is they talking about?
Read it from the top.
And whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing. But whosoever swears by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty.
So it's saying if you swear by the temple, that ain't no problem. But if you swear by the gifts that's on the temple, then you're guilty. It's not the gift sitting on the damn altar.
All right.
It make no sense. But that's the type of stuff they was teaching. But meanwhile, you would try to condemn a man for eating corn. But meanwhile, you in the midst of sin, that's the type of hypocrisy you was teaching. Right. Like, that's hypocrisy all day long. To swear in the temple ain't a problem as long as you don't swear by the gold. To swear on the altar ain't no problem as long as you ain't swearing by the gifts that's on it. What?
Stupid.
Read on.
Ye fools and blind, For whether is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctified the gift? Whoso therefore shall swear by the altar sweareth by it, and by all things thereon.
Right. So Christ had to, like, you idiots. I mean, since you got it all figured out, but you're a hypocrite. I'm gonna let you know whether you swear by the gifts, the gold, or not. If you swear in the temple, you swear by everything that's in it. You idiot.
Right.
But that's a hypocrisy. That's your sin. You did this. That was wrong. No, now I only did this for this, so that ain't wrong. Man, you unprofitable to your damn self.
Right.
You just a hypocrite. You just a hypocrite. So it says, we just read 23:16, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Number one thing to do is now you must judge yourselves.
Right.
Judge yourselves first. Look at your tree and see what type of fruits is it bearing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look at yourself, see what type of fruits are you bearing. Because you may be a teacher, and yeah, you may be bringing in fruit. You may be delivering souls, but are you delivering yours?
Right.
Because the scriptures say Noah, Daniel, all of them, they delivered their souls by their own righteousness.
Right.
So are you delivering yours, or are you just basically a savior? You know what I'm saying? You saving everybody else, meanwhile you sacrificing yourself.
Right.
And I don't mean you doing it in a righteous manner. I mean you got there teaching many, but as far as keeping, you ain't keeping a damn thing. Matthew chapter 7. We gotta close out. Matthew chapter 7, verse 15.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
Inwardly you are ravening wolves. You are a teacher of many things. You are a teacher of many people, but yet you're unprofitable to yourself because you are a ravening wolf. You got sheep's clothing on you. Your persona is that of a righteous person, but your deeds are them of a wicked soul.
Right.
Come on.
Ye shall know them by their fruits.
Look at your fruits. Just like we shall know you by your fruits. Y'all will know me by my fruits. Don't be a respectful person. You'll see it clearly.
Right.
You see it clearly, like, damn, Judea, he got a caring heart. He care. But damn. What is this? Is this? Is this? Is that? Do we go around looking for the evil in each other? No. But your fruits don't show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you just got to be a person that don't have respect of a person. Because if you are, guess what? If you're a person, if you got respect of a person, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to die.
Yeah.
Ezekiel? What are you talking about? Which one are you talking about?
With law. If you hear somebody swear something,
Yeah, that's 5 and 1. The other one, the one I was thinking about though, is Ezekiel 3 and 16. Warn them. 16, 17. Yeah, because let's say if you respect a person, are you gonna let me know that you see sin on me?
No.
No, because in your eyes I can't do no sin. It ain't sin when I do it. But if you see me and you know that what I'm doing, you're like, damn, that ain't right. You gotta say something.
Right.
Bingo. You gotta be your brother. You gotta let me know. You gotta say, hey man, brother, you know what I'm saying? Lately you all right? I may say, damn man, you saw that in me for real? Yeah, all right. Damn, my fault. I'm gonna check that spirit. That's what a righteous man would do. Another man, you know what he gonna do? Try to explain himself out of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know what? Pull you up in front of the congregation and rebuke the hell out of you. Yeah. Because you ain't supposed to see his sins.
Right.
That's the devil, man.
Who the hell are you?
Right. My brother had been in the truth for 2 months, so he come up here telling me about shit. I've been in the truth 40 years. Imagine that on me.
Somebody else should jump up and be like, well, that's a damn shame. 40 years, you still can't see your wrongdoing.
Right. Imagine that on me. I've been in this truth 6, 7 years. How you gonna tell me something? You've been in here a year. Imagine that. Imagine that. Now, understand this. I want y'all to understand something. We do have particular cases in the truth where if you was doing something for the good, even though you were not technically supposed to do that on the Sabbath, the Most High had leniency on you. You got, okay, you know what I'm saying? You did a good deed. You know what I'm saying? So it is it's very few times, but it is sometimes where certain things was done and, you know, it probably wasn't right, but the circumstances you had to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but what I'm not talking about in that case, I'm talking about a hypocrite, a teacher that is unprofitable to himself. And those who follow him out of respect of person. And that type of person, you better check yourself. You better check your spirit. Because Lord forbid, well, I know for me, I don't want to be that man that I don't want to be the dude that I'm reading about, that I'm teaching about. I don't want to be that dude that's unprofitable to myself.
Right.
I want y'all to get the kingdom, but goddamn it, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I don't want you to get it more than I want myself to get it. Yeah, I mean, let me get in, y'all come in and follow me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the dude that talk and watch y'all go into the chariots. Meanwhile, I'm standing there like, where my chariot at? Imagine that nigga jump up and grab your foot, trying to pull you down. No, you come in, no, I ain't going, you ain't going. Right. Get the hell from me.
Get mad and try to throw a brick at you. No, nigga.
I'm in with my heel and all 5 toes.
Hey, I'm telling you. Imagine that. You've been in this truth all this time, supposed to be. Now you've been rebuking your family, all this stuff, right? And everybody else lift off and you still here with their wicked ass. I'm like, now all that stuff you did, you treated us like crap, and look, you in the same spot with us.
Oh, then the person who down there with them should just lose it. You know, go crazy.
That's gonna be taught.
Man, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying y'all back here talking shit to me. We all finna get barbecue.
Y'all finna say, just go in on them. Man, we finna die. What y'all talking
y'all
about?
look here more happy that I'm stuck with y'all than the fact that y'all, like, instead of being upset that y'all didn't make it as well.
Right. Stupid. This shows you the wickedness
I'm
of
telling you, the mind of a nigga is a phenomenon. Why is this? Let's read out. Let's finish out. You had some of your soda?
No, y'all, no.
You sure?
The Leviticus thing?
Go ahead, get it.
No. So, yeah, Leviticus 5:1.
Yeah, go ahead, get it.
Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1. Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1.
Now this is for y'all. Y'all see these bishops, y'all see these deacons, pastors, brothers, whatever rank. Because to me, really, when you talk about class like this, I hate to even have to mention ranks, but because I'm doing a class about unprofitable teachers, I gotta call those ranks out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all see these people in sin and y'all don't say nothing or y'all ignore it because they got a rank. This is y'all punishment here.
Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1. And if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing, and there's a witness, whether he have seen or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity.
You shall pay for that sin. So keep having respect as a person. Keep having respect of a person. You quick to double down on a brother that just got kicked out of the congregation for his sin, but then your bishop or whatever rank does it, ain't no issue.
Right.
You ain't got nothing to say to him. You ain't making no 10-page Facebook post on that.
All right.
You gonna die, man, because you didn't warn that brother. And you damn sure didn't tell on him.
All right.
Check your tree. See what type of fruit. The point is, every last one of us, because all of us are teachers, whether we accept it or not.
All right.
But to us, in the forefront, we sit in the forefront, make sure the fruit that you're bearing is righteous fruit.
All right.
Make sure whatever you teaching, you're not just a teacher of it. Make sure you actually a student of it as well.
All right.
All right. Let's close out in Matthews. Let's go back to what was that? Matthews 7.
Yeah.
And I think we just finished 16. I mean 15.
Yeah, we just finished 15.
Come on.
You shall know them by their fruit.
You shall know them by their fruits, by their works. Like I said, your fruits don't reveal who you are. The fruits reveal who these teachers are. So none of us would be able to say we didn't know because goddamn it, you see the fruits.
Right.
Watch this. Read on.
Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?
Come on.
Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit.
Every good tree brings forth good fruit. Come on.
But a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
But a corrupt tree gonna bring forth evil fruit. Your good teacher gonna bring forth good fruit. And an unprofitable teacher gonna bring forth unprofitable fruit. Come on.
A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
Come on.
Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewed down and cast into the fire.
It's gonna be cut down and cast into a fire. This tree is talking about people. You teachers, us. If you're not bringing forth the right fruits, you're gonna be cut down and cast into the fire. Watch this. Jeremiah 17 and 10 real quick. Jeremiah 17 and 10.
Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 10. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 10. I, the Lord, searches the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing.
And according to the fruit of his doings. Matthew 12 and 33.
Matthew chapter 12 and verse 33. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 33.
And that was a precept, by the way. I'm sorry. It's like it. Matthew 12 and 33 is also a precept.
Either make the tree good and his fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and his fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by his fruit.
For the tree is known by its fruits. You teachers, you either a teacher of righteousness, you either a righteous man by your fruits, you work in righteousness, you teach in righteousness, you practicing what you teach. You're not just a teacher, you're a student of what you teach. You're gonna be considered a good tree.
Right.
Or just call it what it is. You a wicked nigga that knows scriptures. Simple as that. There's one that teaches many, but is unprofitable to himself.
Right.
With that, I say shalom. Matthew 26.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. Now when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman, for she hath brought the good work upon me? For ye have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman have done be told for a memorial of her.
We're commanded by the Most High God to bring us out what this woman did for Christ, preparing him for his burial, showing that you women are important to the truth as well. Play your roles. With that, I say shalom. Check yourself and don't let yourself be an unprofitable fruit or a teacher that is unprofitable to himself. Shalom.
Shalom.
Oh yeah, by the way, the Sabbath is over. I thank y'all for joining in with us. Lord's will, we have you back. Shalom.
Shalom.